All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Multiverse Show, episode 141, the greatest show on Mondays. We're going to get things rocking and rolling. We have a lot of topics we got to get to today, and there's probably going to be a couple not on the agenda over there in the Into the Multiverse section we're going to get to. We got to get things rocking and rolling. First off, we have the gaming Gambino himself, the Deletion, Mr. Mike P. The Truth.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Mike. Thank you for joining us for another wonderful episode of the Multiverse Show. As always, we have a fantastic docket of topics planned for everybody this evening, so let's get it started.
All right, we also have the White Wolf, Mr. Samuel Tolbert.
Hey everybody, it's good to be back. I hope I'm not destroying any eardrums this time. I don't want things to get loud. I understand I was a little too loud last time, so we've done some sound mixing work and
So,
destroying any eardrums this time. I don't.
There you go. Sorry. So I just noticed that it was my sound was on for the I always do like a test stream just to make sure it doesn't sound crazy. It sounded okay, but yeah, it started coming through on the other side. All right, so we're gonna get things rocking and rolling. So first off on the docket, I want to get this done. So the question we ask every single week: what have you guys been playing? I think I know the answer for most of us. So, other than Outer Worlds, what have you guys been playing? Sam?
No, go ahead, Mike. You go first.
I was going to say, I know we're going to talk about these games tonight, but Outer Worlds and Modern Warfare.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about Modern Warfare, dude. Like, what's the impressions from the COD guy?
I did not play the campaign, although I hear the campaign is pretty short, which is surprising to me. But I've only played the multiplayer. I ranked up to level 18, I believe. It's good. I'm really enjoying it. The time to kill feels really good. All of the guns feel viable. I actually like the map design. I see a lot of people online complaining about the maps, like, oh, they're too cluttered. Oh, they're kind of all over the place. I think it's funny. With the maps that after years of playing like Black Ops 4, Black Ops 3, World War II, everybody's like, oh, we're bored of 3-lane maps. Well, this is not 3-lane maps, and now you just don't like this. So it's like, whatever. But the map design, I think, is good for the most part. You could rush a little bit. You really can't sprint around too much because the sprint out time is really long in this game. Overall, I'm enjoying it. I'm eager to see what Infinity Ward does with the maps and the DLCs going forward. So far, my only real complaints about the game, I still do suspect from the beta that there's a problem with the time to die. The time to kill feels really good, but sometimes it feels like you die really fast. Like it's not really matching up with what's going on the screen. So I do still suspect that there's a problem with the time to die going on. Hopefully that's something that they can iron out. Hit registration is much better than it was in the beta. Happy to say that. Only other thing is that the spawns are still really rough. I mean, these maps are a little bit bigger than what Black Ops 4 maps are. A lot of nooks and crannies and stuff like that. I mean, there's plenty of places where they could spawn people, but I still think the spawn system really needs a lot of work. It's easy to spawn trap people. But my favorite mode so far has been cyber attack. So whole point of cyber attack, you have limited respawns, and you have to get the bomb to the other team's base. Reminds me a lot of Siege. A lot of things about this game remind me of Siege, as far as how the guns handle and everything. But overall, I'm really enjoying it. I'm very pleased with the game. It's the best Call of Duty that we've had in years, easily. But yeah, I'm excited to see how Infinity Ward and Activision handles it going forward.
Nice, yeah. I mean, I've actually played the single players. I've done like the first 3 missions. I feel like the missions are fairly short. I don't know how far I am in the campaign-wise of things, but I will say I have been really impressed by some of the missions. Like, really. I'll talk about one in just a second, but I gotta grab something real quick. But I've been really impressed with it. I think you're about dead on when it comes to the multiplayer. I will say some of the maps are kind of misdone, but I'll talk about that in a second. Sam, did you get a chance to play it, or do you have any thoughts on this? Is this something you'd be interested in?
No, I haven't played it, and if I do, I will only be playing the campaign. The campaign is the only part that interests me. And for people who don't know, to give you an idea, I haven't bought a Call of Duty game since Black Ops 2 in 2012. Okay, so it has been a really long time since Call of Duty got my attention. I lived through the whole Infinite Warfare thing, Black Ops 3's nonsense, World War II with Sledgehammer, which might be the last one Sledgehammer makes, but that's another topic. This is the first time in a long time I've actually felt interested. The problem is, hearing the campaign is only about 6 hours, I can't justify $60 for just the campaign. I'm probably going to get it when it drops down in price a little bit, maybe over December or something. I might get it for the campaign.
Yeah, that is a pretty short. That is pretty short for a campaign. I'm actually surprised it's that short.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's almost been universal that people say it's fantastic, and that's really rare to see. Usually, there's at least a couple of people who disagree, but like the worst I've heard is, yeah, I didn't like it as much as these other guys, but I still really enjoyed it and it was worth getting. So that has my attention.
Yeah.
Right. One of the things that I'm really pleased with it, I'm sorry to go. One of the things that I'm really pleased with is that Infinity Ward and Activision come out and they said there's not going to be any supply drops for this game. Thank you, Jesus. I hope to God they stick to their guns with that. That was really good news. Of course, the DLCs are going to be free. There's going to be a battle pass that you could grind, but it's all going to be cosmetics. There's not going to be guns in there. So all of that is fine. As long as they stick to that, that's a more than reasonable kind of progression / monetization system. As long as they stick to that, I think myself and a lot of other people are going to be happy.
Sure. And I think for me, like with Call of Duty, Call of Duty's always been a trend chaser, like on everything. Like whatever's the most popular thing, they will emulate and they will find a way to get around it. I mean, whenever Titanfall came out, wall running was the new thing everybody wanted to do. They said, okay, here you go. Here's a Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. There's going to be some wall jumping a little bit. And then Black Ops 3, all right, here's your wall running. You want a wall running? We got wall running. And so that's what everybody did. And then as soon as that kind of got boring, they said, okay, well, no more wall running, but everyone wants Battle Royale. Here's some Battle Royale. Loot boxes are popular. Here's the loot boxes. Oh, they're not popular anymore? All right, take it away. We'll do Battle Pass. That's popular now. They've always been like this. They've always jumped from whatever the most popular thing was, if they were not the most popular thing at the time. So there's that. When it comes to the multiplayer, I played a little bit of it. I feel like the maps, like they did move away from the 3-lane structure. It doesn't feel as prominent as it was. It's still kind of there, but not really. I will say, I think you're dead on about the time to die is really quick. Like, you die extremely fast. And it encourages this camping thing, because, I mean, that's how all Call of Duties are. When people don't know how the system works, they go camping. It's their backup. It's what they always do. Other than that, I will talk about the campaign for a little bit. I will say the campaign, I feel like the missions are shorter, but I think they're sweeter as well. I will talk about one mission. I'll talk about the second mission in the game. It's called Piccadilly. You're in London, and you are tasked with stopping a bombing. But you're tracking white vans, and it doesn't work. But it really nailed the sense of chaos that comes out with it, because it's the middle of the night, and it's a busy, crowded street. There's explosions. There's people running everywhere, and like some people have guns and they're shooting at you, but you have to. But then whenever you shoot at them, they kind of like hide the gun and start running with the crowd, and so you can't kill civilians, and so you just don't know. So you have to be very vigilant about who had a gun and what they were doing, and it's total chaos. I think that nailed it perfectly, though, about how hard it is to fight a war against people without uniforms. It's actually pretty interesting. I really enjoyed that level in particular. It was hard. I spent like 30 minutes on it because I kept killing innocent civilians. But it was, I think it's a strong moral lesson to it, which I really enjoyed. So kind of moving on. So Outer Worlds came out. Oh boy. Sam, I'll let you take point on this.
Well, before we talk about the Outer Worlds, we have to pay our bills, unfortunately. I mean,
True.
Running a podcast like this, Well, it comes with its cost. And so this week's sponsor, I'm very happy to announce that it is Spacer's Choice. Spacer's Choice. It's not the best choice, it's the Spacer's Choice. Do they make the best products? No. Do they make good products? Also, no. Are their products usable? That's currently under debate, and we will have their lawyers flag anything as inflammatory and derogatory if you say otherwise. But Spacer's Choice has a product for every need. You need the best salt tuna? Well, you can get salt tuna. You want some water? We have dehydrated water. You need weapons? These things have been thrown together in the factory yesterday. I assure you, Spacer's Choice has something for you for all your interplanetary needs.
Of course. And that being said, man, Outer Worlds is nuts, dude. It's been fun. Like,
when you look up, here's how I'll introduce this. When you look up hyper-capitalism gone wrong, this game is what's going to be in the dictionary alongside that entry. And that is not a bad thing. I absolutely love it. It's really, really... The Outer Worlds is really, really comfy. Does that make any sense? That's the best way I can put it right now. It feels good. It feels warm and cozy. It's that classic Obsidian writing, and it's their level design and their quest design taken to the absolute max in terms of, oh, you got this faction. It seems pretty clear-cut, but oh, they got some skeletons in their closet, quite literally, and ooh, but this one's just a jerk, and like, how do you play them against each other? And there's always a third option, or a fourth, and a fifth, sometimes a sixth and a seventh. I love that. The combat feels good. They have a couple of new, really interesting mechanics when it comes to stealth. Usually I dread stealth in games. I hate it. But in first-person games, to be clear, it's just usually not done very well, with a couple of exceptions. But it was implemented really well here. They have a couple of nifty tricks. I'm about 10 and a half hours in. I'm on like the third required world that you have to go to for the main campaign. I've picked up all 6 companions, of whom all the companions are great, by the way. Parvati is a wholesome being, and she must be protected at all costs. And the aesthetic is something like if Firefly and BioShock met Fallout, but then corporations came in and marked up the prices by 900%. That's basically the best way I can put it. It's really good. It's really, really good. The graphics aren't the absolute best. I will say that is one knock against it. But again, this wasn't really technically a full AAA game. And so considering that, I think the art style and the color usage, especially the strong reds and purples.
Yep. All right. So yeah, go ahead. Hey, we didn't really miss much. All right. Yeah. Outer Worlds. You know what I think of when I think of as an example? I think of Call of Duty World War II, where it's kind of it went back to the roots of what people wanted from Fallout and just Western RPGs in general. Where RPGs, well, it's always felt like Western RPGs have just kind of simplified over the last few years, and Obsidian just came through and they're like, nope. Get back. We're going to keep it busy. We're going to keep it difficult. Here's all the numbers. Start crunching. And it is an absolute blast. It's like walking into the past, but having the benefit of like next gen hardware and some more fine-tuned things, which are nice to have, at least in the modern day. I've really enjoyed playing it, and I feel like it is dated, but I think that works in its favor in the meantime. It plays like Fallout New Vegas. It's not drastically different, and that's fine. But it has enough that's different that isn't like, oh yeah, this is Fallout New Vegas in space.
The only different thing is it's actually a proper shooter in its combat mechanics. It doesn't have that thing. I didn't really like that about New Vegas, where your weapon skill determines the randomness of your shots not hitting.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
So,
Mike, have you gotten a chance? How far are you in it right now?
Full disclosure, I did not play it much at all. Most of my time was Modern Warfare. Like, I literally just met Pravati at the Salt Tuna Cannery. So I'm still, like, basically right at the beginning. But I haven't, but the little bit I did play, I did enjoy. I agree with what you said, Sam. I'm getting really strong Bioshock vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Just as far as the art style, the writing, the characters, like I'm getting Bioshock vibes from this. I really enjoy the dialogue. I really enjoy the different choices that they give you.
Yeah.
And the gameplay feels solid. The gunplay is a little bit clunky in my opinion, but it's not bad by any stretch. I mean, it's more than workable. And I'm excited to sink some more time into it. I mean, it's kind of packed this time of year now because you got Modern Warfare, you got Outer Worlds, Luigi's Mansions 3 coming this week. So, but I'm excited to fit more time and play more of this. I have enjoyed what I played.
Like I want everybody who's played it to at least get past Edgewater, because I want to talk about that first level and how it's classic Obsidian design. It really is good. I'm waiting for everyone to get there so we can actually have that discussion.
Right. But even broadly speaking, like I won't give specifics or spoilers, just in some later missions, and one I did a couple of hours ago in game time, the idea of when playing 2 or 3 factions against each other, then getting a peaceful resolution, then making out like a bandit and having, all the money and all the rewards while they're all shaking hands, it's the best feeling in the world. It just feels like, yeah, I'm the king. I thought this through and I played it out and I played them like chumps. I love it.
Yep. Just real quick, what's your build looking like? I'm shooting for like a suave shooter guy. Like he's
in my attributes,
hand weapons and dialogue.
Okay, so to be clear, in my attributes, I went just good in each. I put 1 in all 6 because I wasn't sure if you'd be able to buff your attributes later, and I wasn't sure if you'd be able to I wasn't sure which skills I would like or anything, so I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. So I just have good across the board there. In terms of my skills, however, my skill points, I've really been hammering down on the engineering and medical trees. I've really been buffing those up. I've got them to 80 now. I've almost maxed that one out, and I'm only 10 and a half hours in. I put a fair few points into persuasion, stealth, and guns as well, but engineering and medical is my focus because I get great healing benefits. I can heal my companions more easily, and on top of that, engineering skill gives you a bonus to plasma weapons. So I'm just picked up this plasma rifle, and it's carrying me through the game now because every time I buff my engineering skill, the damage on that thing goes up without me having to get a better gun. So I really love it. Also, I love how if you use a weapon while you're using the time dilation mechanic, you can inflict a debuff on your enemies. Like you can blind them if you shoot them in the face, or you can burn them if you use them with a plasma weapon, shock, knock back with a shotgun. But it only works if you're in time dilation. And I think that's a really interesting change up.
Yeah. There's so many cool things. But what about you, Mike? I know you're not super into these RPGs, but what do you shooting for?
Give me a minute. I actually just started up because I had a feeling you were going to ask that because I knew you're really into builds and stuff like that, flawed and stuff. Give me a minute and let me pull mine up. This way I can tell you what's in it. I do know that I put a lot into medical so far for the same reasons that Sam gave. There was a couple things I put good, very good. I think there was. All right, hold on. Oh, I got. All right, so strength is very high, dexterity is average, intelligence is very high, perception is below average. I feel like I can get by without the headshots and weak spots not doing extra damage. Charm is average, and temperament is good.
You're good. That's fair. But yeah, I can't remember. I think dexterity was average. Everything else was good except for charm. I boosted charm up to very high, or just high. It was just high.
Mm-hmm.
So I put 2 points in there. But yeah, I normally do the suave shooter kind of vibe. At least for my first playthrough. My second one, I'm feeling I'm going to do more of a stealthy engineer thing. Where it's going to be what can I manipulate in the world to do what I want? And then I'm going to do a bunch of companion missions for that one. So my character in this one's a little less concerned with that. So for companions, except for Pavarti. She's a treasure. She must be protected.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so little things we got to go into next. Let's talk about actually Outer Worlds sales. This is a very short topic, so a lot of people were really concerned that, oh man, Outer Worlds did really good in the sales, or not sales, did really good in reviews. It's like, what's gonna happen? What's happening with Outer Worlds? Like, and people are downloading it and playing on Game Pass for really dirt cheap. And so then I started seeing a bunch of people talk about like, oh, but it's selling like 70% on PlayStation 4, and it's like, well, no duh, because they have to. The only way to play it is to buy it on PlayStation 4. There's Game Pass on Xbox, so it's silly. It's honestly just very silly. It's really not a big deal. But I found all these people being concerned about it, and I wanted to kind of bring that up first. But we had another thing to talk about for today. Just news that just dropped today while we're here. But oh wait, I forgot we'll do Spoketober picks in the middle of the show. I forgot to do that. So Death Stranding announced by Kojima today. It's gonna be coming to PC. Please act shocked, everyone. Act shocked.
We have known this. I know Twitter is throwing a hissy fit over this.
Oh man, you hate to see it.
People, we've known this.
You got people out there canceling pre-orders and all this stuff, man. You hate to see it.
like guys, does no one pay attention anymore? We knew this back in 2015. Then it was reconfirmed in 2016. Like, just because it hasn't been talked about in a long time doesn't mean the terms and conditions of the agreement between Sony and Kojima weren't true. It's not a surprise, and you know what? I'm happy. More people will get to play it. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
Yeah. I mean, it really is not anything new. I mean, what was it? The announcement trailer, not the trailer, the announcement press brief they had was like, oh, that's whatever the new game is going to be called will be a PlayStation 4 console exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
The fact they even said console exclusive should have told you right then and there they were only talking about PlayStation 4, but it was going to go to PC.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just dumb. It's just really, really dumb.
Everybody saw this coming. It was just really funny to me to see these reactions from these Sony drones today, man. It was really funny. Like I said, especially the dudes that were talking about canceling their pre-orders and were online crying. It was like, so you cared more about the game having exclusivity to the PS4 than you did about the actual game then, I guess.
What was it?
It's just funny to me.
I had two tweets that I liked the most. And they came from the same person. I'm gonna read them in my standard mocking voice. Fraudjima hustled Sony for everything they had and tainted Decima Tech, an SIEWWS reputation and philosophy of only on PlayStation. Kojima is like Arthas of witchcraft. He tainted the Sunwell with the Lich. Damn it, Layden. You allowed this to happen. Now Jim Ryan has to clean up the mess.
You know what I hate about that the most? I hate that I understand. I hate that I understand the comparison. I hate that it makes sense in my brain. I obviously don't agree with it, but still.
Well, the person didn't have any punctuation either. It's just one long string.
I mean, people, I don't understand what's so bad about this. PlayStation is getting it. You'll be happy. Play the game. It's coming out in just a short while, just a few more days. You'll be getting it. Not this time next week, but, less than 2 weeks at this point. And then after that, sometime in summer next year, PC players can get it. More people will be able to access it. Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. The only thing about this that I will say is interesting / odd is that I do believe this is the first time, someone is free to correct me if I'm wrong, that a Sony-owned engine will be running in a game on PC. Now, that part is a little, okay, interesting.
That is interesting. I agree. That is very interesting.
But even then, I mean, Guerrilla Games went to Kojima in 2016 and told him, hey, we like you so much, here, take it. We are giving you permission to use this. Yeah. So
I got one more tweet. It says, Hideo Kojima betrayed, lied to PlayStation, and stole Sony money, resources, tech engine to fund his multi-platform title. He is excommunicated from this moment on. If I was Sony, I would have told him to go find another publisher. Death Stranding can kick rocks. No game of the year for you, you traitor.
I know who wrote that.
Meanwhile, Kojima's gonna dance to the bank on his millions, as will Sony.
Here's a question. I want to go back to what you were talking about earlier, Sam. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because this was a while ago. If this game does well on PC, which I assume it's going to do pretty well when it releases on PC, do you think there's the potential for Sony maybe to license out the Decima engine to developers, kind of like how Microsoft did with Havoc, or is that two different things?
It's kind of two different things. Havoc is more middleware. You gotta keep that in mind. Havoc is middleware. Microsoft actually owns a massive amount of middleware used in many games. A lot of people don't know that. They own Havoc, then they own Simply Gone, Visual Production Studios, and then obviously Azure, which is being used more and more, like Ubisoft is switching to it, etc., etc. So I don't think it would happen, but at the same time, these are odd times. So who knows? Like, if enough developers expressed interest in using it and were willing to pay, a substantial licensing fee to Sony, saying that, I don't know. I don't think it's impossible, but it's definitely different. Like, it's definitely not a good comparison, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that's going on here. I hope it succeeds on PC, because I mean it's the start, man. And people blaming Layden for it. I mean, Layden didn't launch any PC games. Jim Ryan did. Just anyway, moving right along because we got things. Spooktober picks. We forgot to do this at the beginning of the show. We're kind of rushing through a lot of stuff. James isn't here for his Spooktober picks. But we are doing, so as you guys who are tuning in now, every year for every week of our show in October, we do our October Halloween spooky movie picks, known as Spooktober. So this is our final week before the big day. So we're going to do our picks for the week. Sam, did you come up with a pick this week?
I did, but I wanted to hear y'all's first because I think there's a non-zero chance I may have actually picked the same thing. It's possible, so go
Mike,
first.
Go ahead.
All right, so my pick for this week is a movie called Clown. I believe, I don't remember the year it came out. It was either 2015 or 2016. It is an Eli Roth movie. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. If it's not, it's definitely worth a rent. But the premise of Clown is that there's a real estate agent. He has a family, and his kid is having a birthday party. They hire a clown for the birthday party. The clown never shows up. So he's in a house that he's trying to sell. Goes down the basement. He finds this really old, funky-looking clown costume. He puts it on. He shows up to his kid's birthday party as the clown. Everything seems to be normal. Well, of course, he wakes up the next morning, comes to find out he can't get the costume off, clown costume. And he's like mutilating himself trying to get the costume off. Turns out that the clown costume is actually a demon that is gradually possessing him and turning him into a demon. It's a really interesting premise. It's not scary in terms of having a lot of jump scares or anything like that, but it's definitely an interesting take on the killer clown concept. And definitely, I think it's worth checking out. It's one of the more unique horror movies I've seen in the past few years. Sure.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, actually, funny little thing. The only reason why I had seen that movie, there's only one reason why I remember it. It's because it's got Peter Stormare in it, who was the spokesman for Call of Duty Black Ops series. It's that guy.
Huh.
Yeah, so I was like, I know this guy from somewhere, and that's where I saw him from. He did all the commercials for like Black Ops 1, 2, and 3. I don't think he did 4 though. But you'll look him up, you'll be like, oh wow, that is him. That is that guy. So my pick is actually one I don't think you've seen it, Mike. It's called Monster Brawl.
Never seen it.
It came out in 2011. There is no plot.
There's no plot.
There's no plot. It's monsters fighting each other in a wrestling ring.
How have I not seen this?
How have I not seen it?
Well, so I'm going to tell you who's in the cast. Just for... I get it. And I don't know if you actually know any of these people. I'm just guessing. Yeah, Kevin Nash. Herb Dean. Jimmy Hart. From WWE.
They got everybody in there.
Robert Millet. If you don't know who that is, do you guys remember the Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr.?
Yes.
The really tall guy he fights in the shipyard?
Okay.
That's him.
Oh,
he plays
okay.
Frankenstein. And in this movie, they basically just say, you know what, we don't really care. Like, they say, look, he's a child of Frankenstein. He's a Frankenstein. Leave it alone. Stop calling him monster. Or the monster or whatever. There is R.J. Skinner, Rico Montana, Courtney Rush. There's a couple other people in there. They're all like low-level WWE people. And
who does Kevin Nash play as?
Colonel Crookshanks. He likes fighting Frankenstein. But yeah, so the plot is there's just a bunch of random monsters, and they fight each other. And that's it. So there's a couple different ones, like they have Sasquatch, Sid Tucker, sort of character. They have Frankenstein, who fights, they have Cyclops, they have Swamp Gut, it's a swamp monster. They got the Mummy, they got the Werewolf, Zombie Man, Witch Bitch, played by Courtney Rush,
Jeez.
Lady Vampire. Yeah, I think those are all the fighters. I can't remember who else there is, but it's like there's really no plot. They're just it looks like it's like a pay-per-view event. It's like an hour and a half.
Is there
2 hours.
announcers?
Yeah, there's a couple announcers in there. Like it's like a wrestling match. There's announcers like calling the action and going through that. It's really funny. I watched it years ago. So I'm trying to think outside the box this time for this year. Like they're not like everything I've suggested this year has not been like traditional horror stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been trying to keep it that way for this year.
I'd say you succeed. I've literally never heard of this, but I'm going to have to look it up.
I'm going to have to watch this.
You should watch it on Halloween. It's definitely the kind of show, it's definitely the kind of movie you watch with other people. Because it's like, it feels like a weird B movie. It was made in Canada. Like, it's not like there's no plot. You just sit down and watch a mummy fight a werewolf and like, okay, fine. So it's stuff like that. I just enjoy it. It's such a weird movie. All right. And Sam, what would you pick?
Yeah, so no, you guys didn't. But my pick is also a little unorthodox, but just a little bit because it's not really horror per se unless you're like 6 years old. It's not going to scare you that much, but it's still a good throwback sort of, and it's the 2004, I believe it was 2004. Yeah, 2004 Van Helsing with
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman and
Kate Beckinsale.
Yep. Right, and then
that other guy.
what's his face? The guy who plays Dracula.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember his name, but
I don't remember either.
It's very different because it cast Van Helsing as this young, fit monster hunter who goes around killing things like Mr. Hyde, the transformed version of Dr. Jekyll, and werewolves. Scene. That opening scene is fantastic. Well, that scene, technically the true opening is the black and white, which is also a sort of a throwback, which is also a great scene. It's weird because this film doesn't know whether it wants to be cheesy and humorous or if it wants to try and take its plot seriously, and I think that's okay. That's totally fine. If you just settle down and enjoy it, it really is a fun, scary, in quotation marks, movie to watch.
Yeah.
And by the way, it still has some of the best looking like werewolves and vampires,
True.
in my opinion. Which is really sad considering it came out in 2004, but
True.
It's underrated in my opinion.
I would agree with you. I like that movie a lot, namely for the opening. That is my preferred Jekyll and Hyde interpretation.
Hmm.
I really enjoy it. I like how it plays off with each other. That's just me personally. Even when we'll talk about that later sometime. So
Hmm.
back on the topics because we got two more to go. Next one we got to do Fallout first. Um, so for those of you who don't know, last week Bethesda decided they wanted more bad press, and they decided to announce a subscription service for Fallout 76 called Fallout First. Um, Real quick overview of what you get out of it. You can have your own private server, which is fine. They're going to give you custom, you get your own emotes for it. You get a NCR Ranger outfit from New Vegas. They give you like 1,600 atoms a month, which is actually worth, in terms of the atom market, the asking price they're asking for, that's a pretty decent deal, considering it's like $10 is 1,000 atoms. So you're getting 1,600, so it's not bad. Um, and I think that's everything that you get. Oh, you get like a fast traveling point, an extra one in the game, and you also get unlimited scrap storage. Um, Now, I play Fallout 76 regularly. Um, I'm probably actually on your friends list. I'm probably the only one playing it on a regular basis. um, I will say I don't have a problem with the idea of a subscription service,
Hmm.
given this game if it were to go free to play, which I think it's actually getting ready to do. I think it's getting ready to transition to free to play. Um, but that hasn't happened yet. So I also think the price is a little much. They're asking about $13 US for this,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
definitely a little too
Yeah,
much.
it's a
that's
bit
steep.
pricey. Like if it was
The worst part of it.
if it was $10, I'd be like, you know what, that's not bad. Um, but I also think they're also marketing it this very wrong. If they just said, hey, if you want to rent a server, there you go. It's $13 a month. I don't think people would have as much of a problem with this as they do. I really don't think people would have an issue with it. But that's not how
I
they're
think
marketing it, so I have to take it at that. All right, go ahead.
I I think the price is the major issue with it. Like you said, if Fallout 76 is free to play, total non-issue. Totally see it. But how it is now, even for PC, I don't think it's that bad of an issue for people that are playing Fallout 76 on the PC. But if you're playing on console, it's like, okay, you're paying for the game, you're paying to play online, your online service, Xbox Live or PS Plus, and now there's another thing that you're paying for each month. And I think that's where a lot of the problems come from. Honestly, paying to rent a private server, I don't think that's that big of a deal because that's been done before. Like the older Battlefield games, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, you could pay to have your own to rent your own private server. Um, I think it's just that since the game is not a free to play game and the price steep, I think even if they would have come in and maybe at like $7.99 a month, it would have been a little bit of an easier pill to swallow. Um, all the bad press that the game had at launch didn't help either.
Yeah, and people were ready to jump on. Like, Fallout 76 was the gift that we kept on giving for people to talk about it. So,
And I think it's just this is the only thing I'll say. There's nuance to be had in this discussion. The problem is people aren't going to let it happen. Bethesda was literally just beginning to get people to stop bad mouthing it and actually build up like a really healthy player base. And then they went and did this right after the Wastelanders update that includes all the stuff people want was delayed. And they're just going about it the wrong way. I'm not saying there isn't an audience. Like there is definitely an audience for some kind of subscription model in Fallout 76. Like they can make that work, but this ain't it.
yeah, yeah, I think you're right. Like I think part of it was they marketed it entirely wrong, and if they had done so in a better way, this wouldn't have been an issue. But
Mm-hmm.
they didn't want to listen, so All right. Okay.
We'll see what happens.
And it's like, hey, it's up to you, Chief. So,
Mm-hmm.
anyway, next little bit. Um, Overwatch 2. Okay. So, Overwatch. Let's set the stage here for a minute. Blizzard literally just got done with, and technically they're not even done with this. Let's make that clear. They're not even done with this. People are still going at them for this. They're still in the middle of a controversy with this China situation and Hong Kong, and they're not even done with this situation yet. But instead of them actually addressing that and talking about it, there's a rumor slash leak, whatever, that at BlizzCon they will be announcing Overwatch 2. I think talk about another game, but Overwatch 2 seems like the most probable one they would announce, so I'm not really worried about that. First off, well, let me get a reading for the room here. It is for the chat as well. Overwatch 2? Would you be interested in that? would you play it?
I mean, I would play it, but my first question is why?
That's a good question, isn't it?
Here's what I'm gonna say. Okay, setting aside my feelings for the moment on the whole Hong Kong situation, which Blizzard still has not apologized for the way they need to, and this thing is gonna bite them in the butt hard. Like if they think BlizzCon is gonna go smoothly, I'm sorry, they have another thing coming. It's gonna get ugly. But setting my feelings on that aside for a moment, what is an Overwatch 2 bringing? I've read the leaks just like everyone else. Character levels that have new stuff. A PvE mode, but evidently not a real campaign. They're kind of... The language in the wording of the leaks is dodgy there. New stuff, and they're not uniting the player bases like it would be a separate multiplayer. I don't know. It's just... Overwatch has gone on so long, I guess I kind of fooled myself into thinking it was going to be a service platform like Fortnite. Even if it wasn't as successful, it was still very successful. And so it went on to the point where I thought, okay, they're just going to keep on adding stuff, maybe even do a paid campaign at some point in the future if they get really desperate. The world is begging for it. It is begging for some sort of interesting narrative story mode. But... I don't know. I need to see what it actually is. I need not just reading bullet points from leakers. I need to see what it actually offers. I'm not going to say no, but I'm definitely not eagerly saying yes either.
Yeah. Mike?
I kind of thought it was going to go the Fortnite model, too. I mean, Blizzard, with this game, basically set the map on how you do a games as a service title this gen. You pay once for the game, your DLC maps are free, your extra characters are free. You can grind for loot boxes, or you could purchase them, but it's all cosmetic. And I thought that was just a good platform for the game to just keep expanding and growing. And my concerns are kind of the same as Sam's. It's like, if you're going to do an Overwatch 2, it's like, okay, that's all well and good, but what new are you going to bring to the table that you can't just implement into Overwatch as we have it now? I guess I don't really see the point of it.
Exactly, Mike. Nothing I've read, and maybe they'll convince me otherwise with the BlizzCon livestream, but Mike, nothing I'm reading there, it screams to me, we couldn't do this in Overwatch. We had to sell a brand new game. Nothing about this.
Okay. So I've also put a lot of time into Overwatch, like a ridiculous amount of time into Overwatch. I will talk about this briefly. With Overwatch, I agree. I don't think they need to have a sequel or really anything else. Like they have a very good platform for it. I think something happened though. I think they just don't have any money for it anymore. And there are some things I think they want to do with it, I think that's part of the issue. I really, I don't know how to put this best yet. I'm still kind of thinking it through. Um, I think that with them, their major concern is how do we make Overwatch deeper in terms of the gameplay? I think that's their biggest concern. And that's what they're trying to figure out for the most part. And I don't think it's wrong. I think it's well within their rights to do that. I just think it's just really, really stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't they really shouldn't have to do this, but they will. Um, because they want that money. And I understand. I disagree with it, but I understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really don't know what to say beyond that.
I mean, I get them wanting to sell a new game. Blizzard has not sold a new game, not expansions. There have been World of Warcraft expansions and DLC and stuff and whatnot, but they have not sold a new game since Overwatch in like mid or early 2016. So I get that they really want to go balls to the walls here. I've heard that BlizzCon, like even before the leaks, I had heard it was going to be insane. Like they were really cramming a bunch of stuff here. It's just if you're going to sell a new game, you got to give me something. You know, I'm right now. I am much more interested in the possibilities of what Diablo 4 is bringing. I'll say that right now. That one has my attention far more.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see.
Yeah. What else is there? I don't know. So some of the things for Overwatch 2, just I'd like to bring them up just because I think there's some interesting ideas there. I don't think they should happen, or that they will happen, but I'll tell you about them either way. So one of the easier things they're talking about, that's making the rounds, is talking about having a campaign of some sort, which is not bad, not wrong, so to speak. But I don't know, misguided maybe. They don't really need a campaign to me. I don't think they really need it. But that's just my opinion on it. So I don't know. So the other thing that they are working on is that they're saying that they're going to add more character depth in terms of gameplay. So currently the way the game is set up, if you haven't played Overwatch, is you pick a character, you can have a skin on it, and that's it. Everybody plays the same exact character all the way through. You can play it differently, you could try to, but it's largely going to be the same experience for everybody in terms of the mechanics. They're talking about adding like a leveling system per character and getting like perks, I guess, just you could switch between once you level up a character a certain amount. Like the one they're showing off is Tracer. So like you can have an ability where like, you basically get to like level 10 and you get to choose between two different abilities. One like you do damage for like everyone you rewind through. Like every character you've hurt before you rewind actually takes another point of damage or something like that when you actually rewind. And like, it's like there's little things about it, or like you can for every finishing move you get, like you get a faster cooldown. It's like small little changes that would change how you play your character, but that's kind of it. I personally don't care for it. I don't think it's necessary, but I feel like they're gonna do that if they do. But I think this is just what's gonna happen. Like Blizzard right now, well, keep in mind also Blizzard's a part of Activision. Mm-hmm. And Activision just lost Destiny. So they need something else.
Yeah, they're not. And on top of that, there have been the whole reports about how Call of Duty behind the scenes, the infrastructure is really crumbling. Like Sledgehammer has been taken off main duty. They've been demoted back down to support. And Treyarch is actually going to be up next again, despite just making Black Ops 4 last year. So it's things are rough there, to say the least. Things are very rough.
Yeah, it's not like they're likely pushing for some other game to fill the void right now before the next set comes through. So I'm not particularly surprised about that. So I just I don't know what they're gonna do with that. But like the timing of this could not have been worse.
No.
Like, if anything, I think what they should have done was, I mean, they just finished the Grandmasters for the Overwatch League. I mean, because the Overwatch guys, they want more depth, and like this is the competitive side, they want more depth to the characters. So like, I understand why people are talking about why they want more like perks and abilities and such. I disagree with it, but I understand it. But I I don't think they should go down this route about making a new game. I really don't think they should.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should just say, like, okay, here's Overwatch. We're doing a really big update. Maybe you get a paid update, like $25 upgrade or something like that. That's it.
I would pay $20 to $25 for a campaign. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more than reasonable.
I mean, they do this giant update and say, like, okay, $25. Everybody pay up. That's it. Do that. And I don't know. I don't know anymore. But hey, that's up to them. So, all right. I think we're kind of wrapping up here. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we head out?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, not really anything. I want to get back to the Outer Worlds. Honestly, I want to really get back to the Outer Worlds. The only thing I wanted to say, well, no, you know what, Ivan, I'll ask you off the air. But in the meantime, thank you everybody for coming out. We really appreciated the support. We had a good chat tonight.
Yeah,
it was good.
All right, and Sam, where can the good people find you, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. That's Tolbert. You can find everything I write on sites like Windows Central, Android Central, and iMore.
All right, and Mike.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us for another great episode. We appreciate the support as always. You can find me on Twitter at The Truth of Mike P and everywhere else at Mike P The Truth.
All right. And let's get rock and rolling. I'm Anchorman B2. You guys know where to find me, and I'll see you guys later.